Omonoba Nedu Ukwakolopolo, Ewai II, Oba of Benin, stepped out majestically with loud crowd to perform the Sultan rites of his late mother, Queen Mother Ioba Omoni Ikoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, who departed this world 49 years ago. Isoton is a traditional rite of the procession in memory of the departed person's spirit in Benin Kingdom. It is usually heralded by public display of the departed person's influence during their sojourn on earth. The display of a human effigy symbolizing the departed royal matriarch was preceded by the Oba of Benin, who led the procession from his palace to the Immortal Shrine at King Square in Benin City, where he offered prayers for the repose of the soul of the Queen Mother, Ioba Ewai II. Thereafter, the priest assigned to the Immortal Shrine offered Oba Ewai II items for Isoton on behalf of his family. However, chalk, known as Uri, represented a mixture from royal fans after ancestral spirits were invoked to bear witness and announce his arrival. On his way home, Oba Ewai paid tributes at various pilgrimage sites, including Queen Idia Tomb, beside Oba Market, where a cheerful crowd of traders abandoned their wares to catch a glimpse of the royal personage and join in the celebration.
ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Madonna, imagine already. Always near go, Manazo, or Madonna.
You will have to serve the community for 30 years before you come to this stage. They will update you or your title. Then by then you are one of the elder.
This year now, we don't read the year, so that's why we can do this year.
Historically, joining the Elders Council, an individual must have reached a certain age and must have made significant contributions to the community through leadership, service, or other meaningful ways. There was jubilation in the community as sons and daughters of Okada, both at home and in the diaspora, trooped out to be part of the ceremony with various hymns of the initiates agog with festivities. Friends and well-wishers of those initiated into the Elders Council jubilated at the Ogwedion after performing all traditional rites. The elders, known as Edion, in company with their loved ones, danced to their various homes where guests and family members were entertained.
ITV, certainly the best.
Certainly the best.
Welcome to Market Survey, your weekly window into the cost of everyday goods that shape our daily lives. In recent times, the rising cost of food items has continued to affect homes and kitchens across the country. Today, we turn our attention to groundnut oil, a major cooking ingredient used in households, restaurants, and food businesses. Whether for frying, sauce making, or everyday meals, groundnut oil remains a staple in almost every kitchen. On this edition of Market Survey, we'll find out the current prices of groundnut oil, the reasons behind the changes, and how traders are coping with the new reality. So come with me, let's get to know the current prices. How groundnut oil be for market now? The prices, how the overall price?
Okay, for now, groundnut oil dey okay for now. But we still want to make the thing come down past like this.
So how much na they carry jerry can? How much they measure?
Before we dey buy 42, but now at least the thing still good now. We dey buy 39, 38.
Okay.
So for now the thing dey less. So we want make it come down.
So how much na they measure? Like all this one bottle 5 liters. How much na
okay, those bottles now we dey sell 2,1 before. Okay. But now we dey sell 1,900, 2,000. Okay. But we want make it come down.
Then all these 5 liters.
Okay, as this one be now, we dey sell level 5 to 12,000, but now we dey sell 10,000.
Okay, now you want me the price come down? Like how much if you say that if they sell now, we say everybody will fit afford?
At least this one now go be 5,000. Go dey okay. Go be 5,000. Why that one now fit be 1,000 or 900? Go dey okay.
So but now the price don't come down small, but
it come down small, but it still dey high side.
Compared to the beginning of this year and now, how much I think they sell buy before the gallon?
No, before now, early this year, yes. It did pass like this. Okay. But everything dey okay now, even rice. But we want to make it come down so that everybody will feel the buy.
So now even people will come they buy, customers will come they buy. They see they complain, say it's still there on the high side. Even now
they say they complain. You know, say we human being. Even if this one enter 1,000, they will still want to make it come down. But at least we want to make it come down. Even we where they go market, they go buy, so that we will feel see they buy. Not be the season, sure, but the thing dey okay. You know, say this Christmas period, it dey there, but now the thing come down. So we just thank God.
So but this Christmas period, so compared to last Christmas period, difference?
Big difference. Yeah. Big difference. The thing come down.
So like how much you take come off for money when I take the seller?
A big go. As last year, I think we dey sell that bottle 2,2. But now at least we even sell 1,800 and we'll see make am. You know, so the thing come down.
The price is balanced. I can see everything come down a bit.
So how much na they carry groundnut oil before for gallon?
Before we dey carry for 52, 53. Very soon it enter 40, 49 and some change. But as right now we are buying that is 47, 700.
Now they buy.
Of course.
So how much they measure for different bottles?
We are selling 200 by 2,000 by bottle 1,800.
The bottle 1,800 last.
Of course.
So how much they sell that bottle before?
the time we dey buy 52 50 something we dey sell that bottle 22 23 as of now since the price don come down a bit we still reduce the price.
So na the season of groundnut oil we dey so like this.
Of course every festival period groundnut oil must follow.
So during this season e suppose come down.
Maybe before December e fit come down.
But no. Money I say they buy am before and now how much you think say don top am be don reduce am.
Well, just a little bit, about 1,000 plus.
Okay, the price is where it dey now. Na a very fair price, or you fit say they fit still reduce the price.
I believe in God. There is nothing God cannot do. To me, I feel say they will reduce the price.
So they won't reduce the price. Like how much if you say they sell gallon and measuring bottles?
Depends. For example, now if they schedule the price, say for example, is a gallon is 35,000. We marketing will be selling at least 1,500, 1,400. It reduce from 2,000 to 1,500. Is that not reduced?
But now customers wey come dey buy, they see they complain say the price still dey high.
Of course, none of them is complaining.
This one is 2,000. Why this bigger one is 4,000? Okay. That is how we are selling it now.
How much did they sell them before?
Before we sell it 2,244 before, okay. But now 2,000, 4,000.
Okay. So no smaller one for this one.
Yes, we have smaller one, but I don't have that one now.
Okay.
Let me say it's probably like this.
Yes.
We sell it 1,000. Why this red oil is 900, then the full can of it is 1,800.
So the 4 liters, 5 liters, how much they sell them?
This is Kings. From now to 6 months time, it will be like this. It will not sleep.
Okay.
So I'm selling it 13,500. Okay. Like before, we always buy that time 46,500, 45,500, but now it dropped a little.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So now you just say that the season of groundnut oil with this.
Yes, now because this is the season of Christmas. Something like last year, it is higher than this, but this year, due to how things. The commodity is very high, but by surprisingly now, things is getting down gradually. That is why the groundnut dropped more than the higher price of last year. Do you understand? So let me just say it like this: things in the market drop a little than how it is before. In this previous time now, let me say in this time, I don't know from now till on the first week, second week, I don't know how it will be. But as for now, it dropped a little.
So even with the price, say the thing don't drop, if you say the thing supposed to still drop past the way it is?
It's supposed to drop because there is no money in the country now. It's supposed to drop more than how it is before. Because the money, our money now is no more value again. Do you understand? So we expect it to drop more than this.
Like now, if you want to say how much should people be buying it, how much now what they buy and now say if you want me to drop, finish.
At least, as for this Kings, the bigger can of it or the bigger jerrycan of it, yes, which is about the 25 liter or 30 liter, yes, at least supposed to be that kind 40,000 or 45. Do you understand? Or 35 at least. Poor man can be able to buy. Do you understand?
What about the bottles? Like how much? If you say they very fair to sell them?
It's supposed to at least 1.5 or 1.2. At least it will be better. Do you understand? because everybody cannot afford this 2,000 naira. When some people will come, they will say, "Madam, do you have smaller of it? Do you have chassis bottle? Do you have half bottle?" So I don't. When they come, I will say, "No, I don't have it." So when the person will stand, he say, "I don't have the money. Okay, let me go." Then the person will left.
For now, the ground here don't still drop small. We don't still drop small.
How much na person dey carry jerrycan?
Jerrycan before na 46 wey dey buy now. Before, but then na 39. Now na 39. Before na 46. Yes.
How they measure the groundnut oil?
Can na 2,000.
Okay.
For the can.
What about the small bottle Chelsea?
The small one Chelsea 500. Before we dey sell 700. And the other one 1,000. The small can. Not be the price. This season, they ship this season. Especially if we enter December, they go enter the come down well.
So for the beginning of this year, how much na person dey sell?
Beginning of this year, we dey sell 2,500 for this bottle. Yes, we dey sell 2,500. So you can see come down to 2,200, but now na 2,000.
So how much na you carry what this 4 liters?
4 liters 12,000 for 4 liters. Now, yes.
How much you carry before?
Before you go the year 18 for 4 liters.
So that means I don't really come down.
Yeah, don't come down, yes.
So now it doesn't come down again. Customers they see the currency, the tea still on the high side.
Make them see drop am. Make them see bring the price come down.
As we've heard from sellers, groundnut oil continue to play a major role in household cooking, but its rising cost is making many families adjust their spendings and consumption habits. Traders are also facing challenges from high transport costs to unstable supply. Still, many remain hopeful that prices will become more stable in the coming weeks, making groundnut oil more affordable for homes and businesses.
So we've come to the end of today's edition on Market Survey, and we looked at the prices of groundnut oil to know if the prices have increased or if they've reduced. But overall, it shows that the prices is now fair in the market as opposed to how it was being sold before. And that's it on today's edition of Market Survey. I am Stephanie Notoriuwa. Thank you so much for staying tuned.
Certainly the best.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking about. That's what I said. So
that's,
when they bullied her, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
they
smart.
Can't sit
if
down.
You see where they are dressing them up or dragging on both sides, you cannot. You cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
This is Anegbete Community,
situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is, the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set rolled out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
ITV, certainly the best.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin aqua seed. Ayo or aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
Top on the list of the initiates was the eldest son of the Esama of Benin and former governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosakare Igbenedion. 11 of his siblings, namely Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osanwi Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osarene Igbenedion, Efosa Douglas Igbenedion, Upoma Enes Igbenedion, Osawe Igbenedion, Edosa Igbenedion, Dr. Daniel Omorige Igbenedion, Agbon Steve Igbenedion, as well as the Executive Director Operations, ITV and Radio, Chief Elder Ugbeide Nwonse. It was a vital aspect of Okada community's cultural heritage, which emphasized the significance of age, responsibility, and community service. Over 50 notable sons of Okada were also initiated. According to tradition and customs, those initiated, dressed in white traditional attire, were made to undergo some rituals, while the Odionwe pronounces blessings on them and assisted them to take a seat with the elders.
Certainly the best.
Viewers, welcome to Viewpoint on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji.
A lot is currently happening in Nigeria, especially in the area of insecurity. So we're going to be looking at the life sentence that was actually given to the IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu, and the possible socio-political implications that it's going to be having in the country. I am Caroline Okonji on Viewpoint. So let's go talk to some of our resource persons and residents of Edo State to hear what their reactions going to be about this particular topic. I am Caroline once again on Viewpoint.
I'm not surprised that I was given a life sentence. In fact, I would say that it's even lucky. Because you know, at a point during the trial, he disposed of his team of lawyers. He said he wanted to defend himself. You are not a lawyer, you are standing trial, a trial that the punishment is either life imprisonment or death. So I would say that it's even lucky. At the end of the day, the judge opted to give him life imprisonment in spite of all the provocations, insulting the judges, insulting the lawyers and all that. I think the punishment was even fair on him. You understand? That's the way I look at it. Then if we are talking about the political implication, of course, one would have expected that the president, being that they've actually, at times, they try to talk peace with Boko Haram terrorists, they try to make peace with bandits that are busy ravaging the northern part of the country. One would have expected that he should have also been given an olive leaf to ensure that there will be peace in the east. Because whether you like it or not, he has thousands or millions of sympathizers that are in the east, especially in the east. Even around the world, you also have some people that are actually very sympathetic to whatever is agitating for, whether rightly or wrongly. So I would have expected the president to leverage on that issue by granting him that amnesty, just like the way they did to Igboho and co. Because of course, at a point, those ones were also agitating in the western part of the country. He was able to give them, he was able to settle with them, just as we also had with men in the southern side of the south of the country. We also, Yaradua then, when he was alive, was able to grant them amnesty to ensure that there was peace there. Nobody was disturbing the pipelines and everything was going very fine. So I would have expected that this administration would have tried to leverage on that in order to create that enough peace in the east. Because as we are still talking, the sit-at-home order that they are giving is still very relevant, is still being enforced in some states in the east, like especially in Owerri, Imo State. They still observe it. In some other states, they also observe it. So people, even when you want to travel to the east now, you become very apprehensive because you know that you don't know what will happen because of that sit-at-home order and all that. So I felt that the federal government should have leveraged on that. But for him to have said he wanted to defend himself, we as lawyers, immediately made that decision, we knew that there was nothing that was going to save him. Because no matter how you feel that you know the law, you cannot know the law like a lawyer. You know, the lawyers would have been able to look at his the case that was presented by the prosecution and be able to raise a very good, robust defense, raise enough maybe probably discrepancies and loopholes in the prosecution's defense that would have warranted him being maybe being discharged and acquitted of this offense. But he opted to say he wanted to defend himself, that he never needed lawyers again, and this is where we are. Since the trial started, even when he has been convicted now, we have actually not seen an upsurge in the security situation in the east. So it seems as if people have also accepted that he has been convicted and nobody's saying anything. For now, I don't know. It's possible they might have plans to say they want to come out to the street, or to have plans to start demonstrating or maybe attacking government and government institutions and all that. Nobody knows. But for the now, it has actually not affected anything. It has not increased the insecurity in those regions more than where it was before. It has not at all.
I want to say that the sentence given to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the judgment itself and the sentence that followed from the judgment, they were very fair to him, very fair. ordinarily the law provides for death sentence for such an offence. So, but the judge, in his wisdom, decided to give him life imprisonment, which is still a subject of controversy in the legal sphere. Now, the question should be: did the judgment flow from the facts evidence before court? And the answer that will follow is yes. When a prosecution closes its case, they've led evidence as to how they allude or claim that a person committed an offense. It is the duty of that person to allow himself, by way of calling witnesses, to debunk what the prosecution has said. But what the defendant, Nnamdi Kanu, did was to choose, rather than defend himself, he chose to attack the court, was questioning the court at every point, challenging the court's authority over him. That's not how a trial proceeds, and the judge had no choice at that point but to bring his defense to an end, since obviously his action, he's saying that he doesn't have a defense. So the court in his wisdom brought his defense to an end and went ahead to move the matter straight for judgment, since there was really nothing to defend anymore. And when he was also asked to make a written address, rather than make written address, he brought a motion upon which he attached an address. It is that address the court now took as his further address in the matter. So the judgment itself, to me, is sound. Now, coming to the circumstances of security challenge in this country, whether that judgment will aggravate security challenge in this country, I will tell you, security situation in this country is already bad. So we should not, with this our fear of, if I take this step, security challenge will increase. If I take that step, security challenge, that is what has aggravated the security situation in this country. Each step we take, we are looking at, one person, every person, somebody must be offended. That's the truth. As a leader, you are not there to go and serve ice cream. Your job is to go there and deliver justice, no matter whose horse is God. If it is the Igbo man today, give justice to and against him where it's not necessary. If it's an Hausa man, do the same. If it's a Yoruba man, do the same. That is the only issue. The problem people are having is that while you are imprisoning and sentencing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, you are begging and placating the Fulanis that are and other tribes that are presently causing mayhem in this country, because we have seen them. Because people they try to say, the filmmaker that made the movie The Head wanted to just bring bad name to the Fulanis. But we see every day on social media, the Fulanis, the headsmen, they celebrate their actions. And when you see the ones celebrating their actions in the bush, they are Fulanis. They will show you their captives in the bush. So if all the media space is filled up, TikTok is filled up with Fulani headsmen that are keeping people in captivity in the name of they are now in charge of security of this country. They are showing off how much they have decimated the security situation in this country. Then you say we should not talk about their tribe. We should talk about their tribe. Every tribe has bad egg, and it should be dealt with as such. You should not look at the tribe's name. Now you talk about how the Igbos will react. The truth is, the Igbo man has suffered a lot in this country. I will not mince words in saying it. The Igbo man has suffered a lot. I was in Jos Plateau State in 2008 when the Jos crisis was at its peak. Igbo man suffered a lot. You know the painful part? When you will now go to the police station and the court, when you expect to see a large number of persons that were arrested, you will see them today that over 300 persons are in custody. Come next week, nobody is there. No trial takes place. It's as if we treat this security situation as if it's just two fighting. Two people fought yesterday. We just say, don't do it again. We pat them at the back and go home. People die. Somebody has died. It's not a case of two people fought. It's now a serious offense that must be dealt with all the importance attached to it. In America, one person went and killed somebody in front of the White House there. Killed somebody there. If you see the way the government took it, it's as if they took it as if it is the whole war, as if it was a war. They gave it all the seriousness required. But here, when somebody is killed here, we treat it as if it's foul that was killed. When people, the government will just treat it as if take for example the way they dealt with this Akure, is it Kwara State church kidnapping, where people with people with firearms, brandishing firearms, come into a church and started committing havoc, wreaking havoc, shooting at people. Then they took some away. Then the next day, the government came out proudly, with a shame, to say they are happy to announce that they have rescued these people. The one after rescuing, what did you now do to those who came to commit the offense?
In my opinion, it's very, very unfortunate that the Nigerian society has degenerated to this extent that we find ourselves judicially and politically. The silence of good people in the face of oppression and cruelty is an injustice to justice. I will not fail to lend my voice against the political conviction, because the offense or the crime committed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu does not warrant life imprisonment, because though his actions cannot be in any way justifiable, but when there is an incitement of public, there is a provision for it. And when you talk about treason, there must be an evidence that the persons who is being charged for treason has in any way connived or collaborated or conspired with other persons in quest to usurp the powers of the state. But in the case of Nnamdi Kanu, he only made verbal statements. There was no evidence that he bear arms. There was no evidence that he waged war against the Nigerian state, and there was no evidence that he killed anybody. So why should he be sentenced to life imprisonment when we have seen recently that the so-called repentant Boko Haram who have killed, who have raped, who have kidnapped, who have waged war, who have committed genocide, we are being forgiven, so to say, by the Nigerian state and be infused into the Nigerian military formation. That's to say, they were granted presidential pardon. These are the persons who have openly killed, who have steal, and who have destroyed. We have equally seen another terrorist who were arrested, charged to court, and was given just 20 years imprisonment. Meanwhile, in the case of Kanu, someone who have never been seen bearing arms, who have never seen been killing someone, who have never seen destroy anything, was sentenced to life imprisonment. I have this to say. This is a political convention, not a lawful or a judicial convention. If it were to be in accordance with the law, he would have been given 5, 6, 10 years as the case may be imprisonment, not to be sentenced to life imprisonment. Does his offense warrant life imprisonment? In its entirety, he doesn't warrant life imprisonment. Like I have said, I condemn his actions for inciting violence, but that offense does not warrant life imprisonment. So the Nigerian actors, the political actors, should look into the conviction and the processes so that it doesn't lead to or compound the socio-political unrest in the eastern part of the country and other part of the nation. So the Nigerian state should be very careful, because we have series of insecurities that the state is trying to deal with. They shouldn't compound the problem. I think what the federal government is trying to do, everything happening about Nnamdi Kanu is purely political. It is not in accordance with the law. Yes, the Nigerian government have the right to transfer him to any correctional service, maybe for the purpose of his safety, because they are also fearful that the Biafran agitation might also have plans or motive to get into the prison and rescue him out of prison. Perhaps that would be the government fear. Again, I am not also comfortable that transferring to the northern part of the country is also safe or politically wise enough, being for the fact that the northern part of the country and the eastern part of the country have been an loggerhead. We remember vividly perspective to what happened during the Civil War. So we don't want a situation whereby even the bandits or those in the north that doesn't have the good interest of the east will also get at him in the prison, because if he dies in the prison unjustly, that will amount to series of insecurity if it will not warrant another civil war in this country.
treason or levying war against the state could likely take death or life imprisonment. If you see what the consequences of the actions of indigenous people of Biafra has taken a toll on the southeast, some people have died. They are trying to secede. It's a very serious decision for a part of a country to want to secede. We saw what happened in the United Kingdom when the Republic of Ireland wanted to secede. The United Kingdom fought tooth and nail to ensure that they stop it, although eventually part of Ireland seceded. No country takes it lightly. And so, taking into cognizance the socio-economic, socio-political dynamics of his sentence, it will dampen the morale of every Southeasterner, because generally people are saying that it seems that the Southeast is caged. But I think if Nnamdi Kanu and his group are going to pipe low, then a political situation can be found so that peace can be restored to the Southeast. There's a political aspect to it. The thing is that, is Nnamdi Kanu ready to back down from his agitation? Like I said, no nation takes it lightly when you want to break up the nation. Because if you look at all our constitutional conference, one aspect that has always been non-negotiable is the territorial integrity and the unity of this country. We don't negotiate it. And so we have fought a war before and nobody wants a war. Even the Nnamdi Kanu that he's talking about, was he part of those who fought that war? Most of the people who are talking about the levying war against the state were not part of the war fought in the 60s. And I think that the East should reconsider warming up to the Federation and other regions, stretch their hands across the Niger and shake the Southeasterners and restore them back into the nation as friends, brothers, and co-partners in the building of Nigeria.
Though, if we really want to follow the laws of the land, what the federal government has done was done in the right direction. But we can also say that sometimes the hand the father used to beat the child is the also same hand to bring that child back to the body. What Nnamdi Kanu did, truly we can say it's wrong, because you cannot shout war in a country and don't also expect the consequence. People like related Kwara also suffer same fate when they will declare themselves as president, because we are in a sovereign nation, we are in a nation where laws abide. So I think what the federal government did was done in the right direction. But can we say, is it not going to also affect politically? Definitely yes, you can't say no about that. The reason is because Nnamdi Kanu is a voice as we speak. After the demise of Odumegwu Ojukwu, Nnamdi Kanu became the voice that the Igbo people believe in. 60% of them believe in the cause of Nnamdi Kanu. So it's also going to disturb the political calculation from that angle. And taking him to the area where, to me, it's not also safe for the very just now, was also something done in the bad faith. But what will be excuse is that if they put him in Kuje prison, it's going to be a sort of mecca where people come to visit him. That goes to tell you the type of person that has been arrested. For you to know that if you keep him here, that place is going to be a beehive of activities. It goes to show that person. So I think we will also come to the table of the president to beg, to have leniency, to beg, to say what he has done before can be seen and be forgiven. Because we are in a country where people slaughter, people kidnap, people kill people, show their guns, and nothing is done to those people. The same government that has given out the Kalu this faith will also say those people, we see those people and also negotiate with them, giving them mouth-watering excuses to make sure that what was done to these other people is done in bad faith. So to me, we must be transparent to accept Nigeria does not live in a better tripod. We live in a place where some people carry AK-47s and they are negotiated with, and somebody else is seen with a knockout or a pistol, and the person is charged for illegal possession of firearms. So it's a country where the laws are for some people and the law is for some people. So to me, the federal government should see how best Nnamdi Kanu issue should be nipped on the bud, not to cause another worse-off crisis in that eastern region.
First and foremost, commend the judge for taking such a stand in such a very, very sensitive case. We all know that the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have lingered for this long. I think he was first arrested in 2015, and on and on and on, and the judgment came just a week or so ago. Be it as it may, I think I wouldn't want to belabor myself with the issue of cessationist agitation for states their own right of self-determination, which of course is a rule of customary international law, and it is also enshrined in the International Covenant for Civil and Political Rights of 1966. I think Article 1, Sub 3, that they have a right of self-determination, but there are laid down rules and procedure for that. I think the major charge against him was that related to terrorism on a 7-count charge, and we are looking at the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act of 2022. Somehow, there are laid down penalties for the offense of terrorism, which of course, I would say the judge was fair enough to follow such provisions of that law. Even though Nnamdi Kanu was not actually charged under that Terrorism Act of 2022. But however, that would be another case for the appellate court to look into. Then, looking at the socio-political aspect, for now, it seems to be calm, but I am sure that by the time they go on appeal and the case begins to go otherwise, there's going to be a kind of uprising, especially in the southeastern part of Nigeria. And that may not augur well so much for the security aspect of our nation, especially now that we are grappling with the issue of Nigeria being a country of a particular concern by stating from the American president point of view. Of course, and we say here and now that there are so many windows still open for Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and for peace to also reign in the southeast. For example, I think there's a rumor making around that leaders, political thoughts, leaders from the southeastern part are trying to lobby the presidency if it can be granted pardon. I think if anybody is trying to question the position of the judge, why will he take such a stern position of life imprisonment? I will say that according to a very good jurisprudential school of thought, it said law can be defined as what the court says it is. So I believe the judge also follow that line of wanting to look at the law of terrorism and see that Nnamdi Kanu is given just what he deserves. I want to say here, as one who is abreast with the law to some extent by the grace of God, from the day he decided to defend himself, that he doesn't need the services of his lawyers, I think that was a very great error on his part, because the lawyers, they have the law at their breast, and they have a way of also using persuasive arguments to sway the courts. And I hope that he will learn from this, so that during appeal, he will allow his lawyer to take over the case. I think with this little, I can say, I hope that it will not escalate to a kind of uprising as regard to the issue of security, especially in the eastern part of Nigeria.
Having heard all that has been said from our respondents about the judgment that was actually given to the IPOB leader, some are of the opinion that it was a well-deserved judgment, while some are saying that the judgment should have been treated with human face and that he deserved to be pardoned. It's Viewpoints on ITV. I am Caroline Okonji, and bye for now.
Certainly the best.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.
Up until recently, the issue of mental health wasn't getting as much attention as it is getting today. You know, people focused more on physical health. Okay, so when someone breaks down, they say the person is sick, and the person is taken to the hospital for, you know, medical checkup or medical attention. But quite recently, I think more attention has been given to mental health. Someone once told me that, until someone hits the street and starts picking up stuff from the floor, the person is not considered to be mentally imbalanced just yet, especially in this part of the country or in this part of the world. So that's how I would like to welcome you to another amazing episode of Flipside on Independent Television, reaching you live from the city of Benin. My name is Harry Aigboje, and it's my pleasure to have you join me on this episode of the show. We have a very interesting topic before us, and it's something that has to do with safeguarding teens' mental health. Safeguarding teens' mental health. Now, mental health, like I said earlier, is something that has been getting a lot of attention lately because once the mind is in order, every other thing follows. So the mind is like the engine room of the human body. So yeah, that's basically what we're discussing today. And of course, to do this with me is a friend of the house, Abigail Iwobahi, who happens to be a teens coach and an instructor, a teens instructor. It's good to have you in the house, Abigail.
Thank you. Good afternoon, viewers. It's good to be here once again.
Yes, it's good to have you, Abigail. And of course, just like I said, mental health, it's a very key part of human existence.
Yes.
A lot of times, I think we tend to focus more on physical health. Okay, so let's begin. What are the most common mental health challenges facing teenagers today?
All right. First of all, I would like us to understand the meaning of mental health, because I think there is this misconception. A lot of people don't really understand what mental health is all about. It's just like while I was preparing for the program, so I was discussing with my husband that the topic we are going to be having today it borders on mental health for teenagers. So then he now told me something. He said you just hear some people, young people, they will tell you, oh, I'm having mood swing, and this thing is kind of threatening my mental health. Yeah. So it was like, some people don't know that that's it that they are calling mental health. Maybe it's a sign of madness, but they will just say I'm experiencing mood swing. But the thing is that there's a lot of misconception about mental health. Okay. Like what you said during your introduction, just the same way we take care of our physical body, that's the same way we should also focus and take care of our mental health. Now, what is mental health? The World Health Organization defines mental health as the state of an individual's mental well-being that enables them to cope with the stresses of life, realize their abilities, learn well, work well, and contribute to their community. So just like physical health, mental health has to do with the state of your mind. And as individuals, it is very important for us to take care of our mental health, restoring our mental health, restoring and preserving our mental health is very important at all levels of life, at the individual level, at the family level, at the state, and at the community level. So it is very important for every one of us to take care of our mental health. Now, when it comes to the issue of teenagers and mental health, the teenage age is a very peculiar stage. It's like a transition period from childhood to adulthood. Like what I will always say, the teenage age is likened to kind of a rough ride, because it is full of highs and lows. There are times whereby teenagers may experience mood swings coupled with the pressure from the academic work, pressure to please their parents, fitting in among their social circle. Then at that particular stage, they're also gaining new experiences, and they're also trying to find out kind of their identity is not yet fully formed. They are trying to find out who they are. Yes, they haven't figured themselves out. They're trying to find out who they are and what they want to be in life. So it is no doubt that as a result of all these complex issues, teenagers may experience mental health issues. Now, to your question, what are some of the common mental health challenges that teenagers of this generation are experiencing? I would say that one of them is anxiety disorders. Like experts says that 1 out of every 3 teenagers are likely going to experience anxiety disorder. And anxiety disorder can take different forms. You know, when you are anxious about something, it can take maybe in terms of when they're in social setting, they feel anxious or they don't feel too confident in themselves. So anxiety disorder is one of the most common form of mental health challenge that teenagers of this generation are experiencing. Then, two, we also have depression. Depression is also another common mental health challenge. Okay. Then attention deficit hyperactivity disorder is also there.
I think I might need you to throw a little light on that. Yeah.
Attention deficit, most times children or teenagers who experience attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are usually easily distracted. They might find it difficult to cope in schools, and sometimes they usually have academic challenge, and because of that, they might be labeled that this child is lazy, this child is not serious, this child, yes, is performing below the academic standard for their age. So, but the thing is that such children, they need special attention, they need special care. There's a way teachers can get them to concentrate. So such children, they are easily distracted, even when they might be kind of smart academically, but sometimes they easily forget things. They may know that thing. Sometimes you may even engage them in discussion. You realize that they are sound, but sometimes to put things into writing becomes a problem. So attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Then there is also eating disorder. Yes, eating disorder is also another common form of mental health challenge among teenagers. You know, with especially among females, with the media telling girls what they should look like, how their body should look like. Some girls may begin to kind of experience eating disorders such as anorexia, bulimia, and binge eating. Sometimes, you know, when we talk about eating disorder, some people just think it's maybe anorexia. You know, maybe the girl wants to starve herself so that she can look slim or have a kind of slimmer physique. But sometimes there are some people that eat excessively. It's just like a coping mechanism. Like recently I watched I think it was a short video clip on the internet about a particular lady who said she was abused during her formative age. While she was below the age of 8, she experienced prolonged years of sexual abuse, and as a result, she started eating excessively. She became a glutton. She said she had this feeling that if she becomes fat, that men will not notice her and they will not find her appealing, attractive. So she started eating to the extent that she became overweight, and it started affecting her health. So along the line, she went for therapy and she was able to work on her weight. So sometimes teenagers may eat excessively just to cope with stresses and challenges. Then another one I would like to talk about is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is also, you know, when we talk about bipolar disorder, it's like a psychological issue whereby the person has like two contrast identities. There are times where they feel okay, there are times they are normal, and there are times where they feel aggressive. There are times where they will feel aggressive, while there are times where they will just feel normal. So such people, they require medication. It's something that it is not just something that requires
medically treated.
Yes, it requires medication. It's not just something that requires therapy alone. With therapy and medication. They were able to manage the situation. Sometimes these mental health challenges, they are underlying issues. Maybe within the family, the person was a victim of child abuse, or the person experienced a traumatic event. So that will now bring me to post-traumatic stress disorder. Even, yes, sometimes experiencing trauma, maybe the death of a loved one or maybe an accident. Sometimes, you know, if you've had an accident before, or maybe armed robbers came to your house, there are times that you feel triggered, even when there is no threat around your environment, especially maybe few months, even few days, few months after that experience, there are times you'll be triggered. So
due to the mental damage
so due to the trauma, sometimes some victims begin to relive that moment. It will seem as if that particular thing is happening again. Sometimes they might just wake up from their sleep, they will start shouting, somebody is there, and there's actually nobody there. So that's post-traumatic stress disorder. It can be triggered by maybe a trauma that they experience. Even sometimes that trauma might have occurred when they were younger, but maybe as a result of the fact that they have not been able to overcome. You know, in this part of the world, it's like we don't really take mental health that serious.
Yeah.
Like in developed countries, when somebody experiences a traumatic event, no matter how small or how young that child is, maybe when they were little, they lost their parents, or they experienced the death of a loved one, or somebody
they probably
was
even
shot.
experienced
Yes.
you know, a violent scene.
Yes, a violence. Somebody was shot in their presence. You know, the parents will take that child to see a therapist so that they're able to kind of go through that particular process, so that at the end of the day they'll be able to maintain their sanity, so that it will not have spillover effects on them. But sometimes in this part of the world, people just expect you to get over it. They will just tell you to be strong.
Automatically.
Yes, there's nothing wrong in telling somebody to be strong, but sometimes you also need to sit that person down and ask them how they feel.
Okay.
Just kind of validate their feelings. Just let them, if it requires them crying.
Or venting.
There are times, yes, venting, yes. There are times when you see some people crying and you just say, stop crying. And sometimes just let them cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is very, even doctors or experts will tell you that sometimes crying, yes, is necessary. Let them just pass out that particular frustration. But sometimes when you tell them just suck it up, keep it to yourself, they begin to bottle up that feeling and it piles up. So another common mental health
Just before you get to the other one, because I can tell that you actually have a whole lot to say in that regard, but it's still Flipside on Independent Television. We have to go on this break now. When we return, a second guest shall be joining us on the show. Please stay tuned. All right, it's great to have you back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television, and we're discussing safeguarding teens' mental health. Just like I said before we went on that break, we have our second guest joining us on the show, and she is a teens coach as well, and she goes by the name of Isioma Ubede. It's good to have you in the house, Isioma.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
And it is my pleasure to have you on the show. So before we went on that break, Abigail was telling us the different ways in which, or the different challenges that teenagers, face as regards mental health. Yeah, so you can take it from there.
Okay. The last two I would like to talk about is substance abuse disorder. Substance abuse is becoming a common thing among our teenagers, our young people, including girls, not just It's not just restricted to the boy child.
Okay.
Sometimes they use these drugs as a coping mechanism to deal with an underlying mental health challenge. You can imagine that.
So using a mental health problem to deal with a mental health
drugs,
problem.
because they say it helps them to think straight. And at the end of the day, it also becomes
and
a
some
kind
say
of...
it also helps them escape reality.
Yes,
is that true?
But the truth of the matter is that when that thing kind of fizzles out of your system, you come back to reality, and that particular thing that you're avoiding is still there. So what's now
you were trying to
escape? Yes, escape is there. What's the essence? So some teenagers may experiment with drugs and alcohol just to cope with maybe challenging situations that they are having. Sometimes it can be as a result of peer pressure.
Okay.
Peer pressure. Then the last one I'll mention is self-harm. You know, the first time I heard about self-harm, I was like, how can somebody begin to inflict injury on themselves? It was one of my teenagers that she even had a friend who does that, who was kind of, she inflicts physical injury on herself. Why? As a result. That's the thing. The thing is that it's kind of a complex situation that even the individual cannot really explain why they have that urge. But I think it comes from a place of low self-esteem, a place of they don't feel worthy, they feel worthless. So it comes from a place of like hopelessness. They can't even explain why they do that. Maybe the person has maybe was a victim of sexual abuse, and they can't really cope with reality anymore. So they begin to indulge in self-harm. Because sometimes some parents may just think they are trying to get your attention, or they're attention seekers, but it's far deeper than that. It's far deeper than that. Well,
I'm hoping that we're able to dig deep into this issue of mental health for teenagers, because indeed you can already tell that it's actually a very deep situation for young people. Now, Isioma, what's your perspective to this? Mental health for teenagers. In what ways do you think teenagers struggle with maintaining their mental health?
Okay, so when it comes to the issue of mental health, I'm very glad that in recent times, a lot of awareness have been created concerning it, because in the past, they usually are pushed under the rug using religious to cover it up. Some say it's just spiritual attack. But today, there's so much awareness of it, particularly among the adults. But when it comes to the issue of teenagers, most people just term it like they're trying to be rebellious.
Okay.
Most just see it as a means of, they're trying to get back at their parents, at enforcing a particular law on them. But it's much more than that, because when we look at mental health, we're looking at both the person's emotional stability, we're looking at the person's ability to cope with stressful conditions, which we know are necessary part of life. We're looking at the person's ability to socialize. So it's not just the issue of, this person is just being depressed, or this person is just being psychotic in terms of symptoms. It goes a lot more than that. And with social media and a lot of information that are flying all around, people now are exposed to a lot more than we had in the time past. And so these are things that are realities that we need to talk about, that we need to create more awareness, particularly within our tertiary institutions and secondary schools.
All right. Now, before you came, Abigail talked about, how mental health, how teens' mental health is affected, by academic pressure. Could you throw more light on that?
Okay. So when it comes to the issue of academic pressure, it's actually real. And both the tutors, their teachers, the parents, the society, we have to do a lot more.
Okay.
We have to do a lot more. We have to create this environment that makes the child knows that even if you failed a course doesn't mean you failed in life. Even if you failed an exam, there's another opportunity to try. And who knows, it might just be God's way of directing you to something else that you might be much better at. And so when it comes to the issue of academic pressure, imagine a student that probably is in penultimate year and then fails. And it's the fear of what parents will say, what society will say, pushes this child into drugs. And ultimately, who loses? The same family, the same society. Because if someone comes to you now and is under the influence of drug and does anything, the person might actually go free because he's acting under the influence of something else. And so it's something that is much larger than what we are looking at now. But we need to create that environment that allows people to try, make mistakes, and get up.
Thank you so much, Isioma. That was a very, amazing insight that you brought to the conversation. Now, Abigail, I would like to ask this. Let's take a look at social media. In what ways does social media influence the mental health of young people, teenagers particularly?
Okay. You know, when we talk about social media, the social space is like a double-edged sword. You know, there are a lot of benefits that teenagers, young people can get from utilizing the social media. Teenagers can connect with their peers, they can connect with their friends, they can learn, they can improve on their academics. But the thing is that when it is not properly utilized, it becomes a problem. There's a particular survey that was carried out by the Royal Society for Mental Health in the UK. That survey said that there was a finding that teenagers who make use of social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, kind of have a higher tendency to experience body image issues, loneliness, yes, okay. Loneliness and anxiety. And it's not just about the making use of the social media. Sometimes it is the kind of content that they are exposed to. Let's say, for instance, as a young person, you are through with your secondary school and
probably
you
gearing
came,
up
yes,
for the higher institution.
You are trying to, you are aspiring to get into the higher institution, but due to one particular reason or the other, you have not been able to further your education, maybe financial issues, or you didn't pass, the student didn't pass his or JAM or post-UTME. And they come online, they see their friends celebrating their matriculation. It's even possible that some of them are even celebrating their graduation, convocation, and you are still yet to gain admission into higher institutions. Sometimes you feel like, you begin to feel hopeless, like, and it's even possible that these people that are celebrating online, you were even far better than them in school. Some of them were the type that teachers would say that this one will not even make it. You are the one. And sometimes when your teachers see you, sometimes you begin to feel self-conscious. I remember,
even if they
like,
haven't said anything
yes,
negative to you.
yes. Even some like most times, I'm very concerned about my former students when I see them, even in the vehicle. How are you doing? Hope you are in school now. Sometimes some of them, the way they will react, it may show that they are yet to gain admission. So sometimes maybe there will be no time for me to dig further. Okay. Sometimes it may make them feel self-conscious that my teacher just saw me and yet I've not been able to gain admission into higher institutions. So it can bring about low self-esteem. And another thing is that, one thing that most individuals don't know, even teenagers, is that people only present what they want you to see on social media. People will post when they went out to have fun, they went to the mall.
So it's more of make-believe.
Yes. So people will not tell you their struggles. Sometimes that person you wish you can be like, oh, I just wish I can be like this person. This person is living the life.
So much
this person is making it, and I'm just here. Yeah. I'm here to gain admission. I'm here to get the latest bag. I'm here to get the latest shoe. Oh, look at what this my friend is putting on. It's as if she's not a big girl or he's not a big boy. Yeah. You might not even know the source of their finance. Maybe they have a rich uncle abroad, or there's somebody, a close relative, that is just supporting the finance. You just think that maybe they are doing far better than you. Yeah. So social media can expose teenagers. No, when there's a study that research says that teenagers that spend more time on social media are more likely to experience loneliness, isolation, and anxiety than body image issues. Even we as adults, there are times, another thing is that it can also affect the academics, and this can also affect, because when you are not doing well academically, it will affect your mental health. Yeah. There are times that, in as much as we teachers or educators, we tell students, you are not doing well, you are weak. Some of them feel it. They may not be able to help themselves, but whenever we talk to them about it, it affects them. Some of them can even tell you that I don't really know why. That's why when Auntie Sema was talking about academic pressure is very real. And in fact, as teenagers are facing that pressure from the school, they're also facing it from the home. In fact, I even think parents are the one that even kind of mount this pressure. There are some parents that are trying to live their dream life through their children. So there are some parents, things that they were unable to do, they are putting too much pressure. Sometimes for some teenagers, I've been in the educational system. There are some teenagers that are doing very well, but they have low self-esteem. You begin to ask yourself. I have one of my teenagers, and when she told me certain things, and she was like, her parents they think that she's not good enough. Okay. Well, I said, you are among the best. You are one of the best. She even became like, okay, she was one of the best. Like, I told her, I'm seeing so many potential in you, and all teachers can attest to the fact that this is actually who you are. How come your parents are not seeing this? Because there are some parents that lay more emphasis on the result than effort.
Okay.
They look at there are some parents now, this is just students just collected their results. Now you will realize that there are some parents, when that child will bring that report card, they will check through. Maybe that child is offering, that teenager is offering, let's say 12 subjects, that child had, let's say 11 A's, they want C. Some parents will not say, kudos for the 11 A's. They will ask you, why did you have that C?
Them for having the C.
They will ask you, okay, the person that had all A's, doesn't the person have 2 A's? They will not even take it back to, when I was your age, when I was in secondary school, I had all A's from J1 to SS3. So that pressure is real. So it can also affect.
Which is probably not even true.
It might not be true. So the thing is that even studies will tell you that academic pressure to meet deadlines in school is one of the reasons that teenagers give for feeling unmotivated, feeling tired, feeling anxious. And there are times we parents, we think that when we criticize, when we call them names, that will motivate them. The truth of the matter is that when you begin to criticize that child, they'll feel like, what's even the essence? They have been calling me names, so let me just begin to leave it. Let me just, in fact, they said nothing good will come out, then why should I even try to put in effort? But by the time you begin to affirm that child, you begin to validate their feelings. I'm not trying to say that you should just leave them to themselves. No, that's not the point I'm trying to make. As you are talking to them, also draw them closer. Extremes are very wrong. Don't be too relaxed. Then don't put too much pressure. Like Auntie Isioma said, there are some people that will excel beyond or outside the academic framework. And there are some children that are late bloomers. Like, though, as an educator, I used to tell my teenagers, it's like, if you're a teenager, and you are still not doing well in SS1, SS2, SS3, you are the problem. You are your own problem. You can't blame your parents. For younger children in J1 and below, you can say maybe sometimes the motivation is not there. You need to put them through, assist them. But for teenagers, if you are not doing well academically, your parents are paying your school fees, you don't have any excuse to give.
All right. Thank you so much, Abigail. That was quite a lot. I would like to ask you, Isioma, what are the ways that parents can identify early signs of mental health challenges in teenagers?
Okay, so the first thing I would want every parent to do is, particularly during this period of holiday, it's very glaring that a lot of demands, multiple streams of incomes requiring your time, but you need to make out time to be friends with your children. Because it's only what you actually observe that you can notice when there are changes. If you've never really had that time with the child, you won't even know when there are changes. So you need to get time to know them. This time is not you saying, bring your result, bring your notes. Just let's gist and talk. In between those gist and talk, you will get to realize what these children are facing, what their challenges are. And then secondly, something else that parents can do is, please don't be afraid to let them know where you made mistakes. It helps them.
I think that's speaking to what Abigail said a moment ago about some of these parents setting unrealistic standards for their children.
Yes, that's the word.
So there are times where you know that, oh, as a parent, I also faced this, but this is what I did, or this is what I did not do, which I think you can learn from, so that you don't repeat that same mistake. That way the parent is able to help that child navigate. Because one thing about the modern parenting is that, unlike in our time where you tell them, do this, now you are guiding them, but they make the decision, so that whatever decision that they make, they also bear whatsoever consequences come with it, and they are motivated when they see their decisions yielding fruitful results.
Thank you so much, Isioma, for that very brilliant analysis. It's still Flipside on Independence Television. We're talking about safeguarding the mental health of teenagers. We shall be going on this break now. The program continues afterwards. Please stay tuned. house, put it for bed there. Yes, welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independence Television, and we're discussing safeguarding the mental health of teenagers. Isioma, you were talking about the ways that parents can identify the early signs of mental health challenges in teenagers. So are there other ways?
Okay, so the other ways you can actually identify early signs of mental challenges in teenagers is when you see a child who previously is extroverted suddenly want to be introverted. Withdrawn. Or you notice is a certain feeling of, how will I put it, a flip. Either one who is also introverted deciding to now be this extra extroverted. So, and again, another way you can notice it is when a child overly wants to cover up or wants to keep things to him or herself.
Yeah.
So, but most of these things, like I said earlier, depends on the way in which you relate with these children. That's how you can easily identify it. And many of the times, it's easier when you and these children actually have a relationship going. So aside the fact that, oh, you provide for them, who are their friends?
Okay. And I think that's one part of the whole conversation that a lot of parents don't pay attention to.
Yes. Yeah. So who are their friends? Is there any new addition to the clique that is suddenly making this child change? Have you done some kind of background check to know? Or was there any change in the teachers, even in the classroom? Because actually, there are times when the teachers are changed in school and it affects the child's own confidence.
Okay.
Their
a
teachers,
change of teachers.
Yes, it could actually affect their confidence level. It could actually even lead to even greater motivation for the child. So it can be either way, but the parents need to be very keen on observing these children. And when it comes to teenagers, aggression never works. It never works. Don't even try to say,
what do you make of the biblical injunction that says the rod of correction?
Okay.
It's not even aggression.
Okay. So when the Bible is talking about the rod of correction should not be far, it didn't actually tell you that it has to be a rod, like an iron rod or a physical rod.
Okay.
So there are different ways in which you can do corrections. When it comes to the younger children, if you decide to flog a bit, it's fine. But for a teenager, imagine me trying to hold an 18-year-old boy and say, you know what, today I'm going to flog you. It's possible we chatter that kid if it's been nice. Or decide to say, you know what, let's get it physical, and at the end I'll act.
True.
So that doesn't even work with teenagers. So, but at this stage, there are times where you can decide to say, you know what, let's do it like this. Have these results, have these goals that you have set for yourself. If you're able to achieve it, you get more time on your gadgets, or you are able to control the timing. But most especially, if you notice any changes and there are things you can talk to the child about, please talk to the child. But when there are things that you cannot, please seek professional counselor. They are trained to be able to manage some of those things and be able to identify some warning signs that you might not see. I'll give you an instance. So there are times that, so based on my profession, I'm a pharmacist by training.
Okay.
When people make use of drugs, there are times they are overly calm. They are not aggressive. But there are repetitive habits that make it consistent with use of drugs. So for instance, if I walk into a place and every morning, every single, at a particular time of the day, I need to make use of the restroom, could be a warning sign. But you who are not within that line might not be able to identify it.
Yes.
There are times even when children take even something as simple as Coca-Cola, but they are drugged. And you just notice this child is constantly with that bottle. If you even try to collect it, there's this little resistance. That's a warning sign. But if you are not within the field, you can't. And that's why I always tell people, there are reasons why these people are around us so that we can provide support for such cases when you can't identify, or when you identify but you are not so sure.
Thank you so much, Isioma. That was a very eye-opening one. Now, Abigail, what role should schools play in promoting mental health awareness among teenagers? Schools, because she made mention of the role of schools in all of this. So, what do you think schools can do to create more awareness, for teenagers to be able to deal with their mental health challenges?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to say that one way the school, in fact, there's a lot of role that schools can play. Children, if you look at it, they spend more time in school than, because you have 3 months in a particular term. First term, second term, third term, you understand, in a session, in one session. So most times, and there are even some children from, let's say 8 a.m. to like 4 p.m. they are in school. There are times, even sometimes the children will get home before the parents. So sometimes the parents, that's why, like Auntie Isioma said, parents should spend more time, get to understand your children. But there are times, there are things that parents might not be able to pick up on, maybe at home, maybe due to the busy schedule of the parents. Then the teachers will be able to pick up on those particular issues, maybe mental health issues or emotional challenges that a particular teenager is going through. I would say that the first step, or the first role that schools can play in identifying mental health challenge or kind of helping teenagers cope is for them to introduce mental health literacy to core subject, maybe like in civic education or national values. And
so you mean
yes,
based on your experience as an educationist, right?
Yes,
that hasn't yet been achieved.
It's there. It's actually there.
Okay.
It's actually there, but they can. There is, there's a saying that emphasis, you keep on emphasizing on something. So aside from it being in the curriculum in a particular subject, there's a way they can also introduce it to maybe another subject. There's a time the children keep hearing it, it becomes part of them. So by the time they keep on hearing things that have to do with their mental health, seeking support, talking to your loved ones or talking to your school counselor, understand? So when they are having challenges, it will give them that a kind of motivation to open up to somebody. So what schools can do is that they can kind of teach these things, maybe during assembly, maybe during, because in some schools they have what they call gender class, gender assembly, where they talk to the boys and they talk to the girls. They can introduce the topic for them. Then another thing that schools can do is for schools to train teachers, to train the educators on how to identify early and warning signs of mental health challenge in teenagers and how to kind of refer them to the appropriate authorities, because not all teachers, not all educators are equipped to handle such challenges. Like I normally tell my teenagers, I say sometimes there may be something you are going through. Just seek out a support. At least you must have a support system within your circle. Even if you don't trust anyone, there must be somebody you feel free, like your spirit aligns, agree with that person. That person might be your teacher. That person might be your Sunday school teacher, but you just feel free with this person. So
could even be an older friend.
Yes, an older friend. Yes. So schools should kind of train their teachers on how to identify the early warning signs. Sometimes you might notice that this child that used to is always participating in class is now suddenly withdrawn. Okay, I remember there was this case of an 8-year-old girl. My friend shared it with me that the girl, her parents were living abroad or something like that, her mom. So the mom had other children in Nigeria and brought her, she was born abroad, brought her down to Nigeria and said, I want you to kind of be close to your siblings. And at the end of the day, somebody started abusing her within the family that she was living with, around the age of 8. Then when this girl, they say when that girl came, she was very chubby and very outgoing. Then she entered J1. She was now in boarding school. And people within the area was like, because she's now in J1, she's now forming big girl. She started keeping to herself. She just lost it. So people just say, oh, it's as a result of the fact that she has entered secondary school. They didn't know that something was eating her up. She was facing sexual abuse and she was already having an infection. It was a teacher in the school that was, she did not, in fact, they said when they questioned that girl, she was willing to die than for her to open up about that particular thing. The teacher noticed that whenever she's sitting there in class, she doesn't sit properly. The teacher would tell her, sit properly. She would just bend her body because she was having pain. At the end of the day, when this girl was able to open up, they got her treated. And so what I'm trying to say is that sometimes teachers should be trained for them to identify the early warning signs. Another thing is that the schools can do, another role schools can play is that they should kind of provide a safe space for the children to express themselves. Okay. When teenagers, one thing about teenagers is that you may think they are not sensible. Teenagers are, they are like you. In fact, sometimes they may be more knowledgeable than you as an adult.
Because
not
they are more exposed
to there are things. Yes, you are right. Sometimes you tell them you know nothing, but they know some things that you don't know as an adult, because maybe you know your academics, you know the bookwork, but they know streets and stuff like that. So one thing that teenagers can know if you are not a trustworthy person. So if, for instance, this teenager know that if I walk up to this teacher and tell them what I'm going through, the next day they are going to table it in the staff room, they won't walk up to you. So just imagine if the school environment is toxic, and most of the teachers, they talk about the student, a student shared something with you in confidence, then you decide to go and share that thing with another teacher, and the student didn't tell you that, okay, I want you to help, because there are times I've done that. There are times when I was in the educational sector, some teenagers would bring an issue to me. I'll tell them that this issue, I know that I can't help you, but I can refer you to somebody that I trust, that I know can help you. With their permission, I do that. If they say, okay, I just want it to be between us, I also keep it between us. So if you, as an educator, at the end of the, let's say a child confided in you about something they are struggling with, they trusted you to that extent, and you went to expose or kind of maybe or you criticize them or you judge them about it, you are not just only, the thing is that you are also injuring that child. They will find it difficult to trust others. So it's not just about that particular incident. Furthermore, that child will not want to open up to another person, because they'll begin to view all adults like that. They will find it difficult before they'll be able to overcome that particular struggle. So another thing that schools can do is that they should look for ways on how to support teenagers that are going through mental health issues, kind of so that the issue will not escalate.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Before we go on our last break for the show, I would like to ask Isioma, what are the coping skills that teenagers, can be taught to manage stress and emotions? Okay. Are there practical skills that we can teach teenagers to apply whenever they're faced with such mental health challenges? Quickly. Okay, so some of the coping skills that they can use is one that has to do with relaxation. Everywhere is so tense. In schools, I marvel when people tell me that they have like 8 hours classes in like secondary school and there are no breaks. And even during the breaks are such that you are still within the same pressurized environment. So one of the change of environment. Yes. So one of the things that they can do is to introduce things like sports. Back into schools. Leisure. Yes, leisure, where the children can actually relax. And also, they could actually create materials that these children can actually read, because knowledge is power. So many of the times what we see is we focus so much on the academics without providing that practical environment where they can actually see this thing work. Even having peer groups of friends where you can actually get, like, it works. There are times where we want to introduce an intervention and then we just mentor a particular teenager, send that one into a group, and that one mentors their fellow teenagers. It's easier when they are talking to themselves than when there's an adult who is. So there are times, even when I want to hold discussions with teenagers, I'll just tell them, forget the anti-part, all of us, we 9 day here. And then there's no judgment and anything like that, so they are able to cope. Then finally, when it comes to the issue of coping, it's something that you practice step by step. It doesn't come once. So what one person can take is different from what another person can tolerate. Well, but you celebrate your wins little by little as you go along. Celebrate your wins little by little as you go along. Life is step by step. Well, it's still Flipside on Independent Television, and we shall be going on this very last break. And when we return, to be time to wrap things up on the program. Welcome back. It's still Flipside on Independent Television. This is the final lap of the program, and this is the point where you get to advise parents, adults out there who have teenagers that are dealing with mental health challenges. So, Isioma, let me begin with you. What's your final word and what's your advice for such people?
So if you have one, whether close to you, your neighbor or friend, who is having mental health challenges, just know that it's just like any other challenge that can come.
Okay.
It's very critical that you get help early. So that it doesn't actually make the person lose a lot of time in life. One, it's very important that you create a healthy support system, because when it comes to anything mental, more than the medicines, more than whatsoever any professional can tell you, a healthy support system helps every
When you
therapy.
say a healthy support system, you mean
the parents,
personnel,
the people around
Okay,
them.
okay.
Not create. There are times when they just put this person aside. No, this one is a forgotten case. No, create the environment and help them thrive. Like I said, celebrate their wins. When they make little progress, let them see that they are making progress.
And reward them too.
And reward them too. And then also, if you really want us to deal with this issue of mental health challenges, we must break stigma. We must break stigma. It's okay for a child to have lost a year because he had one or two challenges, but that's not enough to mark that child as a child who has mental illness, and for the rest of the life, the child is tolling along that line because of that single episode. We must break the stigma. It starts with me, it starts with the school, it starts with the churches, it starts with the parents also. So everybody must work together to ensure that, irrespective of whatsoever challenge any child has when it has to do with their mental health, we must break that stigma and know that they are part of the society and help them to integrate. Even if it's substance abuse, there are a lot of people that have been into substance abuse, but right now they are championing the things, that the interventions that has to do with fighting against drug abuse. If those persons have been put aside, what now happens? But we need to break that stigma. Thank you.
We need to break the stigma. Now, Abigail, what's your final word of advice for parents, that have teenagers going through challenges of mental health? In less than a minute, if possible.
Okay, less than a minute. Okay, the advice I'll give to parents is that parents should spend more time. Spending time with your children, your teenagers cannot be overemphasized. When they get to that particular stage, some parents just feel, oh, they can do this by themselves, so we should spend time with them. Sometimes they might not even want to talk. Your teenager, when they were younger, you see that they will ask you multiple questions. In fact, when they see that you are busy, that's the time they want to come and disturb you. But you just suddenly realize that now that they are not teenagers, 13, 14, 15, they will just come back from school, drop their bag, they may not even ask, they will just enter their room, eat the food, they will just close the door. But in as much as they may keep to themselves, because teenagers are known to be kind of secretive, the thing is that even if they keep to themselves, you should try to also draw them closer. Deep down, they want you to make the move. So validate their feelings. There are times they will discuss certain things with you. It doesn't mean that you will just begin to criticize them, you just begin to yell, or you just begin to oppose their view. Sometimes hear their view, then in a kind of, subtle way, there's a way you can tell them, okay, this thing shouldn't be like this. I feel it is far better if it is like this, or if it is done in this particular way. Validate their feelings, listen to them. Listening is very important. I think that's where a lot of us parents or even adults that have teenagers around us will miss it. Listening is a skill. Learn to listen. A lot of us, we talk, and we don't even listen. And when a teenager notices that you are not paying attention to what they are saying at that particular crucial stage, they will just begin to, in fact, they may even seek the wrong person to get advice or motivation from. So we should learn to listen. Then we should also counsel them in a way that is not judgmental. We should kind of adopt a non-judgmental approach, validate their feelings, affirm them, get to know their love language, spend time with them. Sometimes just drop the phone, just interact with them. So it's very important for us to do that.
Thank you so much, ladies, for your very brilliant analysis. It's been such an amazing and interesting conversation so far, safeguarding teens' mental health. I'm hoping that the parents and adults out there have learned so much from what you guys have said so far. I have learned a whole lot, and I'm hoping that, just like they say, talk is cheap. We've done the talking. We hope that they're able to put to practice everything that has been said so far. Big thank you once again for being on the show with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm hoping that next time you'll be able to do me the honor again of being with me on the show. All right, it's been Flipside on Independent Television, and we've been talking about safeguarding the mental health of teenagers. Well, just like I said in opening, the mind is the engine room of the body. So if you can't safeguard it, then it's only a matter of time before the body, follows suit. So it's very important that we safeguard our mental health, not just the mental health of teenagers, even as adults. Okay, it cuts across. Let's safeguard our mental health. My name is Harry Aigbo J, and until I come your way again, same time, same station next week, do the right thing, stay out of trouble, and bye for now.